Good morning, and today is a very, very, very windy day. So, if the audio of this video is complete, a complete mess, I'm not probably gonna post this, but we'll see if my microphone can handle it. So, on to the topic at hand. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about performance. And see, the thing is that I'm a strong advocate of I don't want to be one of those people who say, don't do premature optimization, because I honestly think that it's a very difficult thing to define what premature optimization is. It's a kind of, you play it by ear, or you kind of put up your finger and feel the air, like where things are heading in terms of what you define as premature optimization. But this is not a video about premature optimization. It's actually about what I think are basically sane optimization. Oh my god, that was a strong wind. Anywho, the thing is that I'll give you just a small background on why I'm talking about this topic. So a few weeks ago, a few friends of mine got together and said, hey, we used to have these monthly meetups at different restaurants here in Gothenburg, and we go and eat basically a hamburger. It's basically a men's club for guys who like burgers and just hanging out and talking and so forth. And so they approached me and they said, hey Fredrik, are you interested in helping us with our website? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty interested. It would be a fun project because you may not believe this. I don't know if you've been programming for all that long, but in the beginning, everything like building your own stuff is very empowering. But as you go along, you'll get to a point where most of what you do is really, really complicated. At least I think so. Like, it's been so long since I could just sit down without the stress of like a gazillion product owners or managers or stakeholders or stocks and React, or like just build a basic web page and make it look nice, focus more on making it CSS wise a nice experience, making stuff like that, instead of going full SPA and always making everything super advanced and super fancy for like a potential user base of hundreds of thousands of, if not millions of people. So I was very keen on it. So I put something together. It was actually more fun to design the thing than it was to build it, until I was finished with the first drafts. Basically, we had our first meetup. Everybody said it looked, they liked the way it looked, and I was, a little bit blushing because it's, getting praise. That's another thing you don't really get in programming. Like, I argue that the only famous programmers are either people who get really, really rich, who build something that is so amazing that they get famous just because the product is so great. But nobody ever thanks a programmer. It's like, and it's not a big deal. How many people thank their plumber or the guy who sits in the cashier's registry in your supermarket, right? But it was very nice to get that appreciation for something that isn't all that difficult when you know how to do it. Now, when I was done with this, I started looking at some of the Google Dev Summit videos, and Osman was there talking about progressive web applications, and all the different things that Pinterest and a few others have been doing in order to increase the performance of their webpage. And so I thought, hey, why not do this? I know it's not the same. This website is so small in comparison to these large sites. But hey, it would be a nice learning experience. And I started trying it out. I started trying to do things such as, loading a really progressive images, where you basically load a very, very low quality image, apply a Gaussian blur effect to it. And then you lazily load the proper image and fade it gradually in, and the effect is actually very, very appealing. It's something that Facebook did. I don't think they were first with it, but at least the first time I've ever heard about it was from a blog post made by Facebook. And so the thing is that I found it very enjoyable to do these tiny tweaks, and the most helpful tool I had was actually Chrome. You may have heard about a project called Lighthouse. Lighthouse is now actually embedded in your Chrome developer tools. So if you open your developer tools in Chrome and you go to the tab Audit, you can actually audit your entire site much in the same way you would, you know, I'm not saying that this is going to help you with search relevancy and like stuff like that, but it was very helpful because the audit tool is actually very conclusive. I have to say, I was very impressed how well it was working. You get a number of like how well you're doing and the things that you can improve for best practices, accessibility, all different kinds of scores, and of course progressive web app scores as well. And yes, Google, I will submit, I will probably start thinking about how I can make this a progressive web app at some point. But anywho, the tips and tricks, and like they actually tell you even on file levels, like if you have images or not that's not properly sized, with links and so forth to articles and so forth. And the thing is that doing these tiny small improvements and like optimizations, they didn't require much work, and they did a lot for the experience of the website. I'm running this project on a Heroku box, so you can since they sleep those boxes, the experience for most users is, you know, it takes a while for things to get going. But what's nice is that once the Heroku box or the container wakes up and actually starts serving requests, it's really fast. Like I think I clocked it in like the average clock time was about a second, 1.5 seconds or something like that, and I'm pretty happy with that. I don't have to go crazy. And of course, you know, for completeness sake, I went through all of the different tips and tricks that the audit tool gave me, and just kind of went through the list and implemented them last night. And it was so fun to do. Like I can understand, and this is kind of me coming and saying that I can understand why a lot of the people who work in the performance space are so excited about it, because it feels good. It feels so good to overcome these limitations that we have on the web and the loading times and all that stuff, and learning these tips and tricks that makes things a nicer user experience. So I highly recommend that you have a look. Like, you go to your own website or your own product, open your Chrome developer tools, go to the audit tab and run an audit and take a look at what the tips there, because frankly, I mean, you don't have to go be crazy. There is absolutely stuff that is like really, really advanced, but most of the tips there were fairly simple and straightforward to add, and some of them were actually very fun to add in and research and learn about. So that's a big tip from me. Try it out.